Your child freezes at the playground ladder. You rush to help.
Your hand reaches out, and in that 3-second rescue, you've just taught their brain something dangerous, that they can't handle challenge.
Finnish parents do the exact opposite, and their children grow up with a remarkable ability to face fear without collapsing.
Here's the counterintuitive method that builds courage in 90 days. You've seen it dozens of times. Your child freezes at the top of the slide, clings to your leg when it's time to join other kids,
refuses to try something new because they're convinced they'll fail.
How about we try putting the sky pieces together first?
and every time your heart breaks a little, because you want them to be brave. You want them to tackle challenges with confidence. But right now, fear seems to be winning.
Picture your child 90 days from now. They approach the climbing wall without hesitation.
Handle disappointment without melting down. Their first instinct when something's difficult? Not to look for rescue, but to try.
That child isn't years away, they're 3 months away.
And the gap between who they are now and who they become isn't talent, temperament, or luck.
It's method.
While you've been relying on natural protective responses, Finnish culture demonstrates something remarkable. Supported by decades of developmental science, a national approach that produces children who grow up to be statistically
the happiest and most resilient in the world.
The difference isn't about how much you love your child.
It's about what happens in the 3 seconds after fear appears.
Let me show you what's happening, because chances are you're making 3 mistakes
That are actually training your child to stay afraid.
Mistake #1. You jump in too quickly.
Your child is climbing a tree. They reach a branch slightly higher than they've ever been. You see the hesitation, and in that moment, every instinct tells you to step in.
Here, let me help you down. That's high enough.
You think you're helping, but here's what research into stress physiology reveal. When children encounter a challenge, their nervous system activates.
Heart rate increases. Stress hormones release. This is completely normal. It's the beginning of the courage-building process.
When you rescue them before they complete that cycle, you interrupt something critical.
You prevent their brain from learning that they can handle stress, that they can work through uncertainty.
That the fear they feel doesn't mean they're in actual danger.
You're not building a safety net. You're building dependency.
Mistake #2. You over-direct. You got it, sweetie. Almost there. Just grab my hand.
When you express anxiety through your voice, your child's amygdala, the fear center, starts firing in response to your fear.
Not just their own challenge. This means every time you say, "Be careful, watch your hands, don't look down,"
you're teaching them the situation is dangerous, even when it's not.
Studies in emotional contagion show that children's nervous systems co-regulate with their parents.
Your nervous instructions Tell them there's something to be nervous about. Think about when someone micromanages your driving. Slow down. There's a car. Watch out. Brake earlier.
Does that make you drive better? No. It makes you second-guess every decision.
Your child experiences the same thing.
Mistake #3. You remove all risk.
You've eliminated every source of discomfort. No sharp corners, no risky playground equipment, no chance of failure. It feels protective.
But here's what neuroscience reveals. Fear doesn't shrink through avoidance. It metastasizes.
Without microdose exposure, your child's brain never learns to distinguish between real danger and perceived danger.
Everything becomes equally threatening.
Picture a 7-year-old who refuses to ride his bike without training wheels.
It's okay, let's just try one time together.
Every practice attempt ends in tears. So the parents stop trying.
They think they're preventing trauma. But what message is his brain actually receiving? Now, before we go any further, understand this. If you're recognizing yourself in these patterns, that doesn't mean you failed. It means you're a loving parent, doing exactly what every instinct tells you to do.
But it's time to learn what the research shows actually works.
Here's the principle that drives Finnish parenting. And when you first hear it, it might sound almost neglectful.
They don't rescue, they trust.
Hide. Not because they care less, but because the neuroscience shows that rescue actually prevents the brain development that creates courage.
This is the brain region responsible for emotional regulation, problem solving, and resilience.
But that activation only happens when they're doing the work, not when you solve it for them.
This isn't cultural preference. It's based on what developmental psychologists call autonomy supportive parenting.
It also roots deeply in the Finnish concept of sisu. Sisu doesn't translate perfectly to English, but it means a specific kind of grit.
The inner strength to keep moving, even when you feel like giving up.
And the outcomes are measurable.
Let's call this core technique the Finnish gap. It's the 3-second pause before you intervene. Observations of child problem solving suggest that given just those 3 seconds, a shocking number of children resolve the friction themselves.
And those who don't, they at least make meaningful progress. Either way, their brain is learning.
Here's exactly how this works in practice.
Developmental psychologists have documented cases where children initially refuse to ride bikes without training wheels.
Every practice attempt ended in tears. Parents naturally stopped trying, believing they were preventing trauma.
But what message was the child's brain actually receiving? If my parents keep backing off, this must really be dangerous.
When researchers implemented a Finnish-style intervention, the pattern changed completely. Parents set a calm, non-negotiable expectation. 5 minutes of practice daily. No negotiation. No drama.
For the first week, the child cried through every session. But the parents stayed neutral, not cold neutral.
Week 3, the crying stopped. Week 5, they asked to practice longer. Week 8, they were teaching a younger sibling how to ride.
Physical ability hadn't changed. What changed was their nervous system's response to challenge.
The child's brain learned 3 things.
Discomfort is temporary.
Parents calm tease. Safety.
Capability emerges through practice, not avoidance.
This is what Finnish parents do from the very beginning. And it's why their children develop such remarkable emotional regulation.
The question is, can you start implementing this now? Even if your child is 5, 7, or 9.
Absolutely. But first, you need to understand the 4 principles that make this method work. Because without these, the 90-day framework is just a schedule.
With them, it's a transformation system.
The Finnish method rests on 4 core pillars. And once you understand them, you'll start seeing opportunities to apply them everywhere.
Pillar 1. Autonomy as the default, not a reward.
Finnish children walk to school alone at age 7.
Now, legal disclaimer. In many countries, this is illegal, so don't focus on the specific action. Focus on...
This isn't neglect, it's strategic trust. And the neuroscience shows why it works.
When children experience autonomy, their brain's reward system kicks in. Successfully completing a task releases dopamine,
which acts as a natural buffer against cortisol, the stress hormone. Autonomy doesn't just make them independent.
It chemically reduces their stress. The research is clear. Trust communicates capability.
When you trust a child to pack their own bag, you're not just delegating a task, you're sending a message to their developing brain. You are capable of this.
And children rise to the level of expectation you set.
Practically, this means letting your 5-year-old cut vegetables with a child-safe nylon knife under supervision.
Letting your 7-year-old pack their school bag. Letting your 9-year-old figure out a conflict with a friend before you intervene.
Yes, they'll make mistakes. That's the point. Mistakes are data their brain needs to build competence.
Now the first pillar gives children the mental foundation. The second pillar gives them the physical training ground.
Pillar 2. Nature exposure as fear training.
Finnish children spend hours outdoors in all weather. They play in forests, climb rocks with moss that shifts under their hands,
Navigate uneven ground in the rain while wind pushes against them.
This isn't just about physical health. It's about environmental stress inoculation.
This is why Finnish parents let babies nap outside in prams, even in sub-zero temperatures.
It's not cruelty. It's thermal regulation training.
Nature provides unpredictable but safe challenges. A slippery log, a steep hill, freezing wind. Research into risk assessment showed that each of these experiences trains their brain to assess danger accurately and respond adaptively.
They learn that discomfort isn't danger, that uncertainty can be navigated.
Studies comparing indoor raised and outdoor exposed children show significant differences in fear reactivity.
Children with regular nature exposure demonstrate lower baseline anxiety and faster recovery from stressful events.
10 minutes in nature does more for courage building than an hour of indoor play. The unpredictability is the point.
Autonomy and nature exposure build capability. But there's one element that determines whether children actually use that.
Pillar 3. Emotion neutrality in parent responses.
Finnish parents rarely show panic. Even when their child is struggling, their tone stays calm and matter-of-fact. This isn't coldness. It's strategic emotional regulation.
Your child's nervous system is immature. It co-regulates with yours. When you stay calm, you're not ignoring their... When you panic, you're teaching them that panic is the appropriate response.
Compare these two approaches. American style.
Oh my gosh, be careful, you're gonna fall. Slow down.
Take your time, you're figuring it out. You've got this.
Same situation. Completely different message about the child's capability and the level of danger.
Research in attachment theory confirms this. Parental affect regulation directly shapes child affect regulation. Your calm becomes their calm. Pillar 4, the 90-day micro-challenge framework.
You now understand the theory. Here's how to implement it systematically.
This is where everything comes together into a practical system. Because knowing the principles is one thing.
Implementing them day by day is another. The 90-day framework is designed to gradually shift both your behavior
and your child's nervous system.
It's not dramatic, it's incremental, and that's exactly why it works. Let me walk you through exactly how this works.
Phase 1, days 1 to 30, supported autonomy.
The first month follows a specific pattern. Every single day, you introduce one micro-challenge. Not big.
But here's what makes this work. You change your language at the same time.
Every instinct tells you to say, be careful. Instead, you're training yourself to say, you're figuring it out.
When you want to warn them about danger, you say, take your time.
When you want to solve it for them, you say, try your idea first.
Every time you want to jump in, you practice the finish gap, that 3-second pause. Count silently. 1, 2, 3.
You'll be shocked by how often they solve it themselves in just those 3 seconds.
You also introduce daily nature exposure. 10 to 20 minutes of outdoor sensory play.
Not structured activities, not supervised playground time. Real nature interaction.
If you're in the city, find a park with uneven ground. It's not about the view, it's about the irregularity.
Puddles, dirt, weather.
Your child needs to know you're not abandoning them. You're just changing your role from rescuer to observer.
The key is consistency. Every day, one small challenge. Every day, the finish gap. Every day, nature.
Phase 2, days 31 to 60, confidence in action.
By month 2, you'll notice the shift. Your child stops looking to you before trying something new. You're increasing the distance between you and your child during challenges. This is when competence starts happening without you.
Your child now handles independent tasks, packs their own bag, makes simple breakfast items, lays out their clothes.
Yes, they'll forget things. Let them experience the natural consequence. They'll remember next time.
They move into moderate physical risks, climbing structures that are slightly intimidating, trying parkour-style play.
Balancing on narrow surfaces. Here's an exercise for this phase. Watch your child attempt something challenging from a distance.
In my experience, most parents discover their anxiety is an 8, while their child's capability is a 6 or 7.
That gap? That's what you're working to close, not by making them more capable, but by calibrating your perception to reality.
Remember this, you build the environment, they build themselves. Phase 3, days 61 to 90, fear mastery and identity formation.
In the final phase, the transformation becomes visible. Your child begins to internalize a new identity. I'm someone who handles challenge.
When they encounter difficulty, let them struggle for 1 to 2 minutes. Actually use a timer.
What's your plan? What have you tried?
What's your plan? What have you tried? What else could you do? Do you want to think about it or do you want help?
But don't solve it for them.
The culmination challenge happens in week 9. This is something meaningful but achievable that represents everything they've been building.
Maybe it's a small solo hike on a familiar trail. Maybe it's completing a project independently. Maybe it's attending a class without you staying. The specific challenge matters less than the symbolic weight. This is their moment to prove to themselves what they can do.
In week 10, you introduce the Courage Journal. Every evening, your child draws or describes something they conquered that day.
I tried broccoli. I climbed the tall slide. I solved the math problem myself.
This practice shifts their attention from what they're afraid of to what they're capable of. And over time, that shift becomes their default way of seeing themselves.
Now let me address what you're probably thinking. What if my child becomes reckless?
Let me be clear. Fearlessness is not the same as risk-taking. Fearless means regulated.
It means they can feel fear and still think clearly. They can assess danger accurately instead of either panicking or ignoring it entirely.
The goal isn't to eliminate fear. It's to eliminate the paralysis that fear creates.
Let me address the concerns parents raise most frequently.
My child is too anxious for this method.
This is the most common concern, and it's based on a fundamental misunderstanding of how anxiety works.
Yes. Research into childhood anxiety disorders shows that anxiety isn't a fixed temperament.
It's a learned response pattern, and the data is clear. The more we accommodate anxiety by removing challenges, the stronger it becomes.
Children with high anxiety don't need less challenge. They need more carefully calibrated challenge.
The Finnish method is specifically designed for graduated exposure, small, safe experiences of success that retrain the nervous system.
If your child is highly anxious, that simply means their nervous system hasn't practiced confidence yet.
This method gives them that practice gradually, starting with challenges so small they can't possibly fail, then building from there.
You're not throwing them in the deep end. You're teaching them to wade.
I'm too anxious myself. I can't stay calm like Finnish parents.
Studies in co-regulation show something encouraging. Your own regulation may grow right alongside your child's.
When you practice the finish gap, that 3-second pause, you're not just helping them, you're retraining your own nervous system.
Over 90 days, parents consistently report their baseline anxiety dropping.
You don't have to be perfect at this. You just have to be willing to try.
Is this safe? What if they actually get hurt?
This is a crucial distinction. We're not talking about danger. We're talking about controlled challenge.
You're not sending your 5-year-old to climb a rock wall without supervision. You're letting them climb the ladder at the playground without hovering underneath.
You're still setting boundaries. You're still keeping them safe. You're just giving them space to develop capability within those boundaries.
What if my child pushes back or refuses?
This is actually common in the first 2 weeks. Children have learned that resistance makes you back down.
The Finnish approach uses calm persistence. You restate the expectation. You hold the boundary. You stay warm.
I know this feels hard, and you're still going to do it. This isn't punishment. It's a confidence-building gift.
Most children stop resisting once they realize the boundary is firm and their parent is calm. And then the real growth begins.
Let me bring this all together. Fearlessness isn't about being reckless. It's about emotional regulation combined with autonomy.
It's about a child who can feel fear and still move forward.
The Finish method gives you a blueprint: calm tone, nature exposure, micro challenges, and strategic trust through the Finish gap.
The 90-day system moves you from supported autonomy to confidence in action to identity formation.
Every single day builds on the one before.
Remember that image we started with? Your child hesitating at the playground ladder? In 90 days, that same child will be the one helping other kids climb.
Not because you pushed them, because you stepped back and let their capability emerge.
But here's what happens next. Your child climbs fearlessly. They try new things. They bounce back from challenges.
And then they spill their juice at breakfast. You wait for them to clean it up. And they just sit there, staring at you, waiting for you to fix it.
Because courage doesn't automatically create responsibility. A child can be brave enough to climb the highest structure at the playground.
Japanese parents solve this with a 5-second technique that shifts children from "someone will fix this" to "I'll handle this myself."
No nagging, no reminders. Just 5 seconds of strategic silence that rewires how they respond to their own mistakes.
If you want fearless children who also take ownership of their actions, that's the next piece.
The next video shows you exactly how it works.